go. Shoulder FootyCast live from BackChat Studios. That is the Southern River Band boys out of Thornleigh. Thought I'd give them a shout. I haven't done that for a little while. Welcome to the Shoulder FootyCast. It's about the time of the year that my passion for football starts waning because West Coast is shit. Freo are now absolutely diabolical. And I just think to myself over here in the West, can someone please play some good footy, Skeeter?
Hello, Scully. I just got to trying to draw a line as to which leader is had a worse weekend. Justin Longmuir or Peter Dutton. Both got the arse in spectacular fashion. Both were absolutely outplayed. And, one bloke's gone. The other one, in all seriousness, there's a lot of heat on him after what was. And Dockers fans on Talkback Radio, it's going to blow up all week until they get to Thursday. But it was one of the more remarkably inept performances by the football club in their history.
I mean, like, at least in Peter Dutton's defence, people got a sausage when they had to go and do something for him. Like, Freo fans got nothing.
Well, they got a choice at least. They got a choice. Dockers fans had to sit there and watch it. Well, some of them actually, I did see on X, some decided to change the channel. It was just too painful.
Oh, mate. So I called that on 6PR. So that was a good way to spend my Friday night, Skeeter, as you can imagine.
Oh, wow. And I was hosting a function, so I didn't see it, but I came home.
What function?
I was hosting it was a civil CCF industry awards night. So hello, good. Welcome to all the training awards.
You would have done a great job. Like, you would have just done... I've just never met a man that can just be so versatile in doing a job because you would have just rocked up there.
The day before, I'll tell you a quick story. The day before, I did the WA mining industry. It was like a panel talking about nuclear energy. And you know how much I know about nuclear energy? Zero. I'll tell you one thing that'll make you laugh, though. I thought I'd keep this up my sleeve anyway.
They're not coming to watch you, though. You're just invigilating, I'm assuming. You weren't on the panel.
I was a panel, but I was the MC, so just facilitating.
Okay.
But even still, the questions I would ask, I still didn't know. And these people have got IQs, yes, past 100.
Literal rocket scientists.
It's just very smart people. So it was a lot of fun. Just before the event started, this young lady comes up to me and she goes, "Do you mind if I get a photo with you?" I said, "Oh, of course, no problems, Just Skeeter's just showing his versatility with the demographics." So she got a lady friend of hers to take the photo and she goes, puts her arm around like she goes, "I'm getting this for my grandma because she really loves watching on television." And then she thought about it. She was about 27 or 28 and she goes, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that." But anyway, I said, no problems. But I've got the demo covered. The grandmas have been won over.
Hello, Grandma, watching along. I thought you were going to say my grandma watches the Shoulder FootyCast. All right, Skate, I reckon there's a fair bit to get through today, so let's get through and get into it. Welcome to the Shoulder FootyCast. We're WA's best footy show and WA's best beer combined to bring you all the biggest footy news and review the round just gone. I'm going to start with an item that's biggest to me, Skater. It might not be to everyone
Let's go MRO, shall we? Is that where we're heading?
That is exactly right.
You've just got this thing in your head about the MRO.
Jake Melksham escaped suspension after an incident with Jeremy McGovern that resulted in him being subbed out of the game with... it was really strange. So I was working this game for Fox Footy. West Coast wouldn't confirm or deny whether Gov passed his HIA, and so, which is the initial assessment. But they said he's been subbed, and then I was trying to say, is he concussed? And they wouldn't confirm or deny it. So,
is it a broken cheekbone? Is it something of that ilk?
I don't know. The jury was still out when that happened. However, subbed out of the game due to that incident. You'd agree?
Absolutely.
So on TV, I'm watching, happens. Given what we have seen this year with outcome over action suspensions throughout the league, like we're talking Jackson Archer, we're talking the lad that got that pushed someone into the contest with someone coming back and he got knocked out. St Kilda player got knocked out. We're talking multiple times this year where outcome has been the first thing that's been seen, not the action. So I see Jake Melksham do a complete forward action. Like, this action happens 24/7 AFL. It was great forward craft.
I agree.
It was non-suspendable.
I agree.
But I watch and I go, that's weeks. Because of what the AFL has done to my brain, because they have been suspending on outcome, they have not been suspending on action. So to my absolute shock, horror and absolute pleasure, I see yesterday that Jake Melksham hasn't been suspended.
Yeah,
that makes absolutely no sense. Not because, Skeeter, it is a suspendable action. It is because the AFL has set a precedence of suspending actions that result in concussions and bad outcomes, and now, praise the Lord, it's an action-based decision. Thank you, AFL. Thank the Lord.
So
I'm happy.
Yeah, well,
Happy
and,
as.
common sense prevailing, but by the same token,
When have they used common sense?
Well, if you just go back to the pre-season, Ruben Ginbey was reprieved under a circumstance which has similarities, albeit in terms of the actions around. Obviously, it was a totally different. There was a forward touch. He took the mark, by the way, which shouldn't relieve you of any duty of if you've created a suspendable act before that. But the Ruben Ginbey case was one that is a precedent in that area where the player was injured.
I look forward to the rest of the season there being action over outcome, because that is a terrible outcome.
But the hard thing is,
and the action was fine.
So the problem with the action is, as you know, it's in life it doesn't work that way, because the action might be poor from a player and nothing happens to the opposition player. You know that's not going to get the same amount of treatment as when there's an outcome of a concussion or a broken jaw, etc. That's just life, unfortunately.
Talking about life. We're just talking about the AFL tribunal system.
Yeah, okay, let's go to the tribunal system. If that
give me traffic light examples. I just want.
Okay, so if McGovern isn't concussed,
yep,
it's plumb, because we all agree that action was fine. I think action is fine.
Correct.
So, but you're saying if there's an action that is you believe suspendable, but the player isn't concussed, isn't injured, we still give them 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
but that's not going to happen. You know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but it should. That would save any of this.
So that's sort of a push out that has been penalised already this year.
It's a disgrace that's been suspendable this year. It's a disgrace. It's forwards. Mate, forwards do that week in, week out. It's the same as the Paul Curtis. The action is not terrible. Why? How he gets 3 weeks?
And Laura Kane admits that.
That was outcome based.
Of course it was. I totally agree.
So, well, my case in point. So maybe they've changed. Although we see Bo Allen get a week for exactly the same action as Rory Lobb. Rory Lobb, Mason Cox, right? Rory Lobb punched Mason Cox in the cheek. Yeah,
I thought Bo was in trouble the moment I looked at the replay, to be totally honest.
Yeah, but the consistency is.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, the thing is,
I thought Rory Lobb was in trouble.
We always try to marry them up against other incidents, which is natural. But when I saw Byes, I thought, I thought he was in trouble, the young man. And here's a quiz question for you. I did ask this. How many debutants have been suspended on debut? And Glenn Jakovic said to me, Andrew Williams was suspended for the Eagles up at the Gabba in his opening game of the AFL career. So
do you have the answer?
I don't. No, it's a genuine question. I thought, how many blokes have been rubbed out in their first game? Anyway.
Well, there you go. So well done, AFL. Action over outcome. Congratulations. First of the year. I look forward for the rest of the year not having to speak about it again. Bailey Smith comments post-games, don't get that in Ballarat, referring to the 80,000 crowd he played in front of at the MCG against Collingwood. Just ruffled some feathers at the Bulldogs, it's being reported. You don't mind it. You don't care.
Seriously, we follow the NFL, we follow the NBA. The banter that blokes have, as you and I do, that's just a bit of theatre. Next time, well, when the Bulldogs play Geelong, whatever that is, that's just going to be just box office stuff, isn't it?
So Bontempelli then came back the next day, tried. I don't know if
he missed it a bit, didn't he?
I don't know if the banter was high enough level from Bont. Love him as a player. Probably just a step back in terms of banter. Nice to know we're still on Bailey's mind. There's probably a few less people in Ballarat that fit the bird too. It's actually good though.
Speaking of Ballarat, just quickly, I know you don't have this on your talking points, but I was watching again the minis when I got home. Why would you play a game in Ballarat? Not because Ballarat's not a place where AFL footy deserves to be played. It looks like 3/4 of the ground is being redeveloped. So there were 5,000 people there. I heard them say 5,000. I mean, what is the point this year, once it's redeveloped, why are you playing footy there?
So just have a spell for a year? Well, they're obviously putting more seats in.
Of course, there's no problems with that, but why play footy there when you have 5,000?
Just have a spell, put the game under the lid.
Anywhere. Anyway, just a little note I thought.
I like that's actually a very good point from you, Skeeter.
Thank you.
Bailey Smith just finished it off, by the way, by putting an Instagram story with the location, the Salty Dog Cafe.
What is that?
It's pretty. I was just saying that Bont's been salty.
It's salty. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So we're ticking that off, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think it's great.
The Wizard was flipping people off in the goal square yesterday. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
He was giving birds to people. So the AFL will be shitty about this. I guarantee you the AFL will be shitty. Yeah, so this was filmed from in the cheer squad and in the Richmond cheer squad, which, look, hey,
there's some interesting words coming out of there.
But I don't know if if we're talking about Bont's band, I don't know if the banter was overly educated.
No, and I can imagine you, without even a hesitation of doubt, you'd had the birds lined up.
I've flipped the birds so many times and it's one of the greats.
Do you smile, or do you do it with a real pissed off?
Or a little like behind the back. Because what are they? They can't do anything. It revs them up even more. Like, you just continue playing. And the wizard kind of did that, but he turned around and he was given a bit of these ones. And
it's funny because it's the same in my house. Like, if Vic's got her back turned to me and the girls are on having a blue, one of my daughters will give it that one, I'll give it that one. If we get caught giving the bird to each other, we are in trouble.
Thank you. And I actually like the fact that there's a bit of this going. Like, it's not going to hurt anyone.
Well, hang on. You certainly cannot be calling for any fines, given that you demanded, you were aghast at the whole of Optus Stadium wasn't highlighted when a few thousand did the bird 7-9 minute mark of the first quarter for Harley Reid. So you are an advocate of it across the platforms of the AFL.
I can guarantee you, there was more people flipping the bird that day than there was at Ballarat Stadium on the bloody weekend. I can guarantee you that, mate. A couple of other little things rolling around. Spoke to Clayton, Christian Petracca after the game.
You also spoke to Max Gawn. Now, I'm sitting in the 6PR commentary box, and I didn't hear it. All I saw, and I sort of know you'd started the interview from what I saw, and you were either telling a joke or laughing at your own joke before you'd actually spoken to him. You were laughing at your own work, is that right?
Does that sound like something I'd do?
I didn't hear it, but I thought, what is this idiot doing?
Does that sound like something I'd do?
Probably.
Because it's exactly what I did.
I didn't hear it.
Well, as you know, when you do an on-grounder, you have maybe a minute talking to the player before you get in the ER, here we come. So I was just chatting to Max before we were on air. And as he came over, he was like, my twin, how are you? My bald brother. And I was like, hey, mate, how are you? Chatting away. Anyway, so then when Paps come down, I was getting down the field, Will Schofield's down with a special guest. And I just started with, yeah, g'day boys, just down here with my balded, bearded twin brother, and then Max started laughing, and then I started laughing.
That's not bad. Not bad.
But then we're pretty loose. If you want to pretty loose on-ground interview, we were talking absolute smack. It was a bit of a show of FootyCast out there. Like, we were just having a laugh.
Was it worth me going back and having a look at it?
Oh, I think you'd actually enjoy it. Yeah, it was quite funny.
Yeah, I don't.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit. Is it okay to not be straight down the line, straight to 180? I mind, seriously, some of the stuff I hear over the weekend is very, very black and white. I mean, it's okay to have a little bit of character, is it, or not?
No, I'm all for
just
that.
Ask Max, how was the win today, mate?
No, how you feeling?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Good battle out there today, mate. No, it wasn't, actually.
Must be satisfying to beat the wooden spoon favourites.
I had the most touches I've ever had in a fucking game. It was easy as. That's how the chat should have gone. Spoke to Christian Petracca in the rooms afterwards, and I haven't really... I took a bit of a hiatus off socials after the weekend, but... yeah, he spoke pretty candidly about Clayton Oliver and his time away, and he was open around vulnerability, especially in men. And to me, like, breaking it down a little bit from a footy sense, it sounds like Clayton's not coming back anytime soon. Like, just but you know, they were wrapping their arms around him, but he was pretty open about it. It was a good interview.
Yeah, well, and look, I'm very strong on being able to support people like that in the industry. Also, I've just got to always have a couple of red flags, rightly or wrongly, about when this is brought up as to whether it's player behaviour that has simply just gone, not in this case, but in general.
Yep.
And the Jamara case, I guess, is one that is worthy of including in this discussion. I just have, and I think most people do have a few question marks as to when this term, having a mental health break, is always used in the appropriate fashion. And I still stand by that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And it did sound, by the way Christian spoke, that it was used appropriately.
Legitimately, yeah, of course. And look, it's loath to even question any time, but I think clubs at times are a bit loose with using that term.
Did you enjoy Thursday, Friday night footy? Like, if you're
I hated Thursday night footy. It was a shite game. It was horrendous to call. North Melbourne didn't know how to win. The Bombers, after half-time, kicked 2 goals, so no.
I just thought fixturing maybe, like, in the pre-season or whenever this was done, like,
It's October.
Essendon North was never going to be a good game.
No. I mean,
Fremantle St Kilda was never going to be a good game. Or was it?
Well, no. As soon as I saw that, I said on Thursday Night Footy with David Mundy when I was doing it on radio, he said it should be a really good game. And I get much right. I said, this will be a low-scoring, boring, dour affair because Ross will turn it into an absolute scrap, and as it was. So, yeah, they're two matches, Thursday, Friday. The Dockers, for instance, they should not, when the next batch of fixtures are put out.
They ain't getting
They're off Broadway.
Mate.
They're off Broadway. They don't deserve it after what we saw.
See you Sunday, Arvo.
3:10 or
whatever. Sunday.
And St Kilda, to be fair to them, they're not much good either. I know they won and won comfortably, but I don't. You want a piece of them on Friday night?
Piece of them.
On Friday Night Footy. We got them next week, so good luck.
I'll have a piece of them. Shelter Brewing Co., the beer that we can't get enough of. Will Schofield, Mark Redding, Shelter FootyCast. All right, St Kilda. 94, defeat Fremantle 33 at Marvel Stadium Friday. I'll just quickly start with the positives because we need to talk about Freo big time. I think the way St Kilda are coached, they can be good. And you can say that how bad Freo were, and we're about to. Well, I certainly am. But St Kilda, mate, and Lee Sperry and I identified this 5 minutes before the game started, right? And with the amount of preparation Sperry and I did between us, 5 minutes was pretty good for us.
Sperry be lucky to know who's playing.
Ross Lyon your mate, he had a few of those on the weekend. Amon Buchanan he called on Friday night. Played for St Kilda.
Buchanan? he played in the grand final in 208, didn't he? 209? 205.
Oh, my throat's good. He's going to shut down their key forwards, put numbers behind the ball. He was going to shut down their best midfielders in Brayshaw and Young and Sarong. And he was going to press their forward handballs. That was what we came up in. Literally the mics came on and we're like, this is what he's going to do.
And Justin Long, you knew that as well.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, well coached, well executed. And I think St Kilda, well done. Jack McRae has 38 disposals. They did everything. They couldn't have executed a game plan any better, could they?
No, and Ross Lyon is perfect for that type of situation. I don't think he's going to ever coach a premiership team. Certainly with that style, that won't win you premierships, but he is a very good game day coach.
Right.
And very tactically savvy.
Right. So we start there, the coaches. Because after this game, called the game, I took 2 hours of talk back from Freo fans and... sometimes when you're in the media, we can be strong, we can be soft, we can be... But, I've been pretty loath to be calling for Justin Longmuir's head, right? I haven't really ever done that. I probably won't today, to be honest. But 2 hours of talk back, every caller wanted Justin Longmuir gone. Every single one of them. And there's been an undercurrent of that in Freo fandom. And if you're a Freo fan listening, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this was boiling point. This was proper boiling point. People were just absolutely gone, had enough, not watching, not member. No, I'm not member anymore. This is bullshit.
I hate using the term, but this was brand damaging across so many fronts. And you're right, you have to go back, I think it's 2009 where they went to Footy Park and they kicked 1 goal against the Crows. I remember going to the newsroom the next day at Channel 9 and the producer, who wasn't really big into footy, he said, right, we're going to do a story, the Dockers to be abolished from the AFL. They're not going to be abolished. They're not going to be kicked out of the AFL. It was a terrible performance. But this sort of theme afterwards, with regards to the coach and the performance, this is, I think, in the last 10 years, can you think of another time when... And they haven't had... The reason is because they have talent in their side, that's where this frustration lays, doesn't it? Or lies.
Yeah. Well, they haven't... The reason is they haven't been as bad as that. That's as bad as a performance I've seen from a team that has expectations of being a final side. I can't remember a worse one.
Worse than Geelong round 1, worse than Melbourne MCG, worse than... Yeah, their away form is the issue. That you can point fingers everywhere. And the term that I guess, as a listener, a footy fan, not enough effort.
Yeah, I think form's the wrong word, away form, because I said this on Freo fans can cop losing. Every fan can cop losing a game of football because that's what sport is, that's what footy is. You don't win every week. No one does. Literally, you can be in premiership favour and you lose. And as long as the effort's there, the other teams just played better. Now, not only did the other team play better, like we just said, but the lack of effort, the shirking of contests, mate. So Sperry and I, nothing special on the playing field. Sperry a better player than me, no doubt. But and I'm sure I shirt contests in my career, but like we were watching it just like, what is that? One hand in, broken tackles, ball on the ground between two, not going. Like it was...
So do you think that same performance would have been put out if that match was at Optus Stadium?
Well...
No question, it would have been chalk and cheese, and that's a frustration factor. There's no way they would have played the same intensity.
But it's bigger than that, mate. Like, I just think it's such a cop-out to talk about their away stuff.
Well, it is. Their form away has been abysmal.
I know, but it's a complete cop-out because... Mate, that's what footy is as an interstate team. You play away. Like you it's not like injury list. Like that's sort of uncontrollable sometimes, or the game plan.
They had close to their best side in for the season.
Yeah, I know, but the away chat, like the away form and what we do away from home, it's just such a cop out because
I agree.
You that's what it is. You play for Fremantle, you play for West Coast, you play for an interstate side, you play away, and so. Yeah, I don't cop we're away and our what's the clock, Freo clock or Docker clock, like all this garbage, mate. They just need to sit down. We're talking down in the country, beers out. Like they need to have a proper session.
What? Because they can turn it on at home, and the thing that will frustrate Freo fans even more is if they come out on Thursday and are highly competitive and win against Collingwood.
But it wasn't like half their team didn't. Like Andrew Brayshaw had 18 disposals. Caleb Serong had 15 disposals.
That's miles down from what
they'll probably... Brayshaw was one of their better players. I don't know. Like it's the lowest touches Caleb Serong's ever.
But it's a template for what other clubs know that they can get, and Ross does it better than anyone, but that's obviously the template for shutting down this group.
But they didn't tag anyone. People saying, Windhager did this and that. But no one was tagged at all.
It's collective pressure though.
Yeah, correct. So... Mate, Cooper Sharman looked like Wayne Carey. Genuinely. Mate,
I saw it.
Like this is against a backline that's very good. Their captain plays there. Like, so you can't tell me, they need to just pick their form up away.
Now, can I ask you this quick question? Because obviously Thursday we'll get here pretty quickly. Are there some big-name Fremantle dockers? We saw Tim Kelly dropped from the club after poor form. Oscar Allen, question mark. But let's go Tim Kelly. There has to be, after that performance, a regular player, a senior player perhaps even, that pays the price. Or do you think this will be a case of cosmetic surgery?
Well, I've spoken about the players and the performance there, but like the coaching has to come under question. So I've sort of been loath to call for JO's job, and I'm not going to do that. But like they had no plan B. Like their plan A, I reckon within 6 minutes you could see plan A wasn't going to work because Ross had shut down their two best mids. Numbers behind and was pressing. It happened 1 minute in. So then you have to go, well, what's plan B? And the worrying thing, the most worrying thing was there was just not one response, like to the point where Josh Draper was in the ruck and Luke Jackson was ruck roving and they still, there was still nothing. They were throwing magnets around. They were too slow to adjust, but they had no adjustment. Like there was not even a plan 1.2. Like there was nothing. So that's coaching. Because what coaching is a game plan and then it's alternatives to the game plan, but it's also buy-in. So the players have to buy in, but the coach has to get the buy-in.
So can there be a statement at selection this week? Can there be a statement that, and more so for supporters who are going to say, what, we've dropped a mid-range fringe player, brought someone in. Is it at that point where a statement has to be made?
Yeah, well, okay. I don't know who you're going to do that to. I think Jai Amos is struggling. Defenders have worked him out really quickly. Just be physical with him and he can't fight through it. I'll go through a few players here. Hayden Young shouldn't play for another... he won't play for 2 or 3 months. His body can't hold up to AFL. So they need to stop playing him 1 week in the waffle and then bringing him back through the AFL. He needs to go and play 4 weeks in the waffle and... operate at a lower intensity, put him out of the cage or something. I don't know, because he's not playing for a long time because he just can't keep playing somebody gets injured all the time.
Can you, given the way the defence is going, is someone like a Luke Ryan, is there someone senior that is under the pump with their form, with their output, that that we look. Shea Bolton's been disappointing, but you can't drop them all. I understand that. But if there's not a statement selection this week, then there never will be.
No, we haven't seen the best of Luke Ryan this year. The ruck combo is the first time we've seen them together. Do you pull a lever there? That would be a big statement. Not playing one of those guys. I didn't think either of them were good, Darcy or Jackson. I know people like to pile on Sean Darcy, but Jackson was terrible too. Their midfield, you actually can't drop Brayshaw or Sarong. You can if you want. You're probably better off doing like a wholesale change, like 6 changes. If you're going to make a statement.
There has to be a statement made here, Scully. I know you're
not acceptable.
You're being diplomatic, and I know it's difficult because you're judging it off one performance because the previous week, the majority of them were good, but you're going off an away performance. But I just think if you're a Docker supporter and you don't see some statement this week on Wednesday night, then perhaps it's going to be a case of rinse and repeat and you get what you deserve.
But the trouble is, Skeet, the senior players aren't playing well, right? Didn't play well. Luke Ryan had 24 touches.
Who's that?
Luke Ryan.
Yeah. I know. That's a bit misleading.
Shea Bolton was nowhere.
That's what I said, yes.
Nowhere. Sam Swikowski, who's in the leadership group, was nowhere. He was one shirking contest that I saw. Shea Bolton did as well. Young was injured, but then you just got young blokes that are, young. Like Draper won't play next week. That's guaranteed. Jeremy Sharp can't really kick, but he plays that role. You got guys like Dudley and Narkle and Murphy Reid, Warner, Wagner. These guys, nothing's going to happen if you bring them in or out. Like, who would you like drop to make a statement? Alex Pearce?
No,
I reckon he was probably their best player. Alex Pearce had a crack. If you're Freo sitting right here, all those players, right? Like you could drop any of those, but you just want as a fan base your players to be having a crack, and it's exactly the same conversation as what I've been having with West Coast for 3 years.
Exactly. So when you look at what Peel had dished out at the weekend, 20 disposals. Will Brody. Now he's clearly been out of favour for some time.
Cooper's first game back, was it?
Yeah, I think he'd had a calf. I think, but anyway, so you're probably loath to Cooper Simpson. Young player who we thought might come and compete pretty well. 18 touches at the weekend. James Ace, you go back to the well with him, 16. Neil Erasmus had 16 touches. So they're the types of guys that you're probably looking at. Hugh Davies to see, come into the mix with Draper where he's at.
So there's nothing there.
No, there's not. But that's not the point. The point is if they dish out the same team verbatim on paper, what does that tell you?
So this is what happened to West Coast actually. Remember? Because they'll drop the senior players, but then they look at the waffle and it's like...
There's not much there. But you have to do something. You cannot... do you think there'll be mass changes or no changes?
Mate, there has to be changes.
Yes.
And I'd say a minimum 4 get dropped.
No, I don't disagree.
But then that brings in, so Simon Garley before the game comes out and says there is, absolutely no one else that'll be, coaching.
On the ABC,
yeah. I don't have verbatim in front of me what he said, but,
he basically guaranteed Justin the job at the start of next year, which, to be fair, pre-game, you're entitled to be positive about what's coming up.
Because the Adelaide performance was so good. We just sat here last week and said how bloody good they were and how well they executed, and I gave Justin Longmuir the credit he deserved.
Absolutely.
So I don't think in 1 week of football you could turn around and sack the coach. But it's certainly,
At the end of the year, there will be a decision made. If they don't play finals... That will be a fork in the road. I think
if they don't play finals, Justin Longmuir will get sacked. That's strong enough for you. So if they don't play finals this year, Justin Longmuir won't be the coach next year, and I don't think he will think he deserves to.
No, I agree. I think that's almost an unwritten element of this season for the Dockers. Win, play finals. Yep, happy days. Even though there probably expectations were higher than that, but if they don't make the finals, then I think, and because there is quality outside of the club in terms of Luke Beveridge, who's coaching out of his ears at the moment. He's going beautifully.
John Longmire's
the guy who's out of work and
apparently a bit
keen. And why wouldn't you if you had the opportunity?
Adam Simpson's
been mentioned.
Adam Simpson coaching Freo
will be the biggest bombshell in WA footy.
Nothing's come close to that before. When Ross entered Freo from St Kilda, that was
huge.
big.
Yeah, I was part of that whole circus.
And maybe when Simo got sacked, more so than when Woosha got sacked because it dragged on a little bit more.
I think there's more chance of John Longmire, if there's to be a move, that you go for John Longmire, a proven coach over even last year. Sydney Swans made a grand final. I think Adam Simpson, as good as he was to get your boys to win a grand final, etc. The argument is he's a good coach with the list that Fremantle has now. In that sense,
yes.
So that is the
Zero
argument.
would suit Freo, mate. So
Tactically,
West Coast, yes, mate. That's his number one strength.
Yep.
Like when he came to West Coast, we needed Adam Simpson. And I reckon it's long enough past now that Woosha would probably say the group probably needed Adam Simpson, and Adam Simpson. Woosha probably would have preferred underneath him, but
yeah, of course.
We built this group of players that had high quality, had games into them, had the ability to win games, but we didn't have a game style that really stood up. I don't know if Freo's game style looks good enough this year. I don't think the defensive stuff that we've heard over the last 3 or 4 weeks stands up, because when you don't rock up, you kick one goal at half time because you're not attacking. And Freo fans are breaking their TV with their controller because they're like, just have a crack, boys, offensively. It looked like they didn't want to pull the trigger. I couldn't believe it.
Anyway, coaching-wise, as you said, we're not here to get it to Justin, but the end of the season will determine his fate, and there'll be some big names brought up if they don't play finals.
Melbourne, sorry Freo fans as well, what you had to go through. Just welcome to West Coast life over the last 3 years. Melbourne 108. That's seriously. That's what they put out.
I've been a Perth supporter for 45 years.
Yeah, so is this still going on, is it?
Well, no, it's not really still going on. It's still supporting a club, yeah. Is that okay?
I mean, I'd really go for the AFL, that's all.
Well, I don't have a team. I mean, I'm able just to swing with the Mahmoods, aren't I?
Well, I'm not allowed to. You have a crack at me when I do. You
got 5 teams.
Who do you go for? Giants? You just said that's swing to me.
You got 5 teams. I don't have one. That's fine.
Okay, you don't want to buy.
Dave Matthews, I like him.
I've cut.
Selling a game to the MCG, and that's another point which we don't have time for today. But good on him for trying to get a look at the MCG, where the AFL completely snub interstate clubs. It's disgraceful.
What's Dave come out and said?
Well, in brief, he's looking at selling a home game to the MCG because in the past 2 years, I think they've had a total of 3 matches in the home and away season at the G.
Which is bullshit.
The AFL, seriously, it's till 2057. You get Richmonds and Hawthorns and Collingwood getting 17 games at the ground where you have to win the grand final. But no, we'll give the Gold Coast 1. We'll give the Eagles or Melbourne, GWS 2 for the next 2 years. It is just a joke. That's
sore point for you.
Sore point, yep.
Okay, all your teams play there. Melbourne 108 defeated West Coast 76. Optus Stadium. All I'll say is thank God for Max Gawn, because without him in this game, it was a shit game. There was a couple of little nice things. There was a highlight here and there. Elijah Hewitt did a couple of things for West Coast. Waterman kicked 3 goals. I just thought it was just a boring game.
You know what?
On the boundary,
the best thing was in the last quarter when the game was done and dusted, we 6BR headed to the election coverage and Anthony Albanese's speech. So we got to sit back and just go, well, isn't this just average?
Wow.
But
sums it up.
To be fair to Melbourne, they were challenged. Eagles led by 12 points, and then they went whooshka in the third quarter. They really turned it on, kicking, I think, 7 goals in the term, which, put the game to bed.
No, Oliver. We spoke about Petracca had 29 touches. Max Gawn had his career-high 35 disposals. He was working so hard.
You know what? I noticed that as well. So there was a free kick, might have been in the last quarter even. And
another one.
And I looked at, I think it was Flynn who had the free kick.
Around. I know he had the free kick.
Yeah. So, but I watched Max. He sprinted to the hole just outside the goal square. Now, whether he did that all night or not, I wasn't.
He did.
But that to me was just a sign of the bloke's work ethic.
That's how you get 35 touches as a ruckman, is your work rate. So we had 22 of those that were contested, which is equal high, 9 clearances, 47 hit outs. That's one of the all-time dominations Matty Flynn's ever copped. So Max Gawn might be the best ruckman ever, full stop.
You think of Dean Cox and how good he was in his career. This guy's, I think, definitely in the conversation.
Yeah, I think he's probably passing Coxie. I mean, Coxie gets so many plaudits because he changed the way the game's played, and you got it. And what a great
midfielder.
Yeah, and what a great he was. But you're talking great v great here as well.
Yeah, there's no.
I think Max has probably gone past him. Which is pretty special, isn't it? I don't have much to say about this game, Skate, seriously. West Coast improved effort. How about this? They won the Waffle. They beat undefeated South Fremantle in the Waffle So West Coast fans, if you want a little bit of
juice,
who's looking around, Clay Hall had 30. Bailey Williams, who will get recalled after this, I reckon, kicked 2 and had 30 hit-outs. Tyrell Dewar, 26 disposals. I don't know why he's not in the team right now on a wing. You're just going to keep playing him. He's shown enough. Luca Grego, get him in the side. 24 disposals off a back flank again. They are looking pretty good. And Rhett Bazzo as a backman. No Jeremy McGovern, I don't reckon, this week. 17 disposals, 10 marks. I reckon we could see Rhett Bazzo, Oscar Allen.
At the MCG playing in defence.
Yeah, who they got?
Richmond.
I don't. Yeah. Perfect. Play Rhett Bazzo. That would be perfect.
And you know what? Oscar in defence again, to me,
he looked better.
It's by necessity, and he did look better. And he had a couple of nice involvements. He still looks miles off what we know of him as a player, but obviously I think that, whether it's a fitness thing, whether it's a confidence thing, but he's required there now until McGovern gets back, and that was always going to be the issue for the Eagles. With Barras gone, McGovern has been unreliable with his body, whether his fault or not in the last 2 or 3 years. This is an area of concern, and Allen's jumping up.
Essendon defeat North Melbourne by 3 points Thursday night. Footy Skeeter. Zach Merritt huge with 35 disposals. Jordan Ridley, another hamstring. Jade Gresham, another groin. So they've got injury issues.
And not forgetting, of course, Harry Jones. So I thought it looked like a dislocated ankle.
It was.
Yeah.
So that's not good because you can break it when it dislocates.
And it was terrible to watch. Anyway, so as bad as this game was, and as poor as Essendon was after half time, and that, bear in mind, this is 65-62 under the lid.
Yeah.
That is a pretty grim picture. They kicked 2 goals after half time. In fact, 3 after quarter time. And the Kangaroos, a 5-goal third term. They hit the front. They looked okay.
What's the big fella's name? Come on, let's go to the moment of the match.
Finn Marley, I think. Finn Marley, sorry.
Finn Marley.
Yeah, so he takes a mark.
He gets his jumper before the game. Adam Simpson presents it to him in the rooms. Takes a mark. This is like growing
Boys'
up.
own stuff.
Yeah.
First game, chance essentially to win the game because it's a minute 20 to go to put him in front. And we're calling the action, and suddenly we hear, he's been called to play on. Oh. He's overused his 30 seconds.
So you and I just watched this again because you thought there might have been a bit of a...
I wasn't sure whether he'd actually...
Maybe a miscount.
Whether he'd taken the mark and there wasn't. But to be fair, the umpires, he took about 38 seconds before he started rolling.
What was he doing? He took the mark. We just watched it. He took the mark. He's like turned around. He's like he's slowly moped back and got to the top and he's breathing and carrying on. It's like,
someone had to be, and also someone nearby had to say, okay, buddy, just start your approach soon. No, seriously, you need someone like that. Oh. And speaking of leadership, I'm not going to go into this game because I thought it was rubbish. Is it Zach Merritt? Without him, Essendon don't win. He is. Yeah. And Brad Scott has likened him to Nathan Buckley in terms of carrying the side on his back. It's a pretty good analogy. Without him, I don't think they win the game.
There was one play where he just worked his absolute ring off the entire length of the ground, ran, and Kako had it in the middle and he was dancing and leaving.
Kako.
And Zach Merritt would have been 50 metres clear.
In the forward pocket.
And Kako's tried to kick a right foot banana from 70. And it dribbled out like a metre in front of Zach Merritt. And he was just like...
He was trying so hard not to give him a spray, wasn't he?
I reckon he'd go into his mind, he's just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what is going on?
It was easy for us watching on the TV, but he was by himself inside 50. Yeah. And Kako, who's a very smart little player, that will be shown to him. And
he'll hit it next time.
I don't think he'll be doing that again.
No, he'll hit it next time. Yeah. He looks like a gun. All right, so that was great Thursday, Friday. Western Bulldogs 131 defeat Port Adelaide 41.
In front of 5,000 people.
This was the Ballarat game. Mate, I didn't see any of this.
Nor did I.
But, mate, there was only 4,814
I told you, 5,000 people. Why have a game in Ballarat?
Bulldogs 7 goals to 2 into the wind in the third quarter. So Port Adelaide absolutely nowhere.
They stunk it up.
Right.
You talk about the ladder of disappointment on the weekend.
Fremantle's off it.
Fremantle's off the charts. But this mob's on a podium.
Yeah, right. So Port Adelaide won the first 10 clearances of the game in this one. And then after that, they went 49-25. So they had 25 more after that. So absolute bloodbath there. Bont, 3 goals.
Genius.
Yeah, 23. Tim English, 27.
After quarter time, it was 18 goals to 3.
Yeah, okay. So
that's massive.
So it's not a great last third
Can
quarters.
I know I've said this, but Luke Beveridge has done an exceptionally good job with this group, and it's been through injuries with Bontempelli, Ugle-Hagen's absence, Darcy's absence. He has been really good. And he's got these young players like Fraser coming through, Richards, new lease on life. They've got, they deserve full credit. I reckon he's the coach of the year thus far.
He's sitting equal top 4, so he's equal with Gold Coast on 5 wins. So I agree with that. And they lost here to Fremantle, the worst side in the world. Didn't they? They did, didn't they?
They did. But you know what? It's like flat track bully is a term that we use for David Warner. So when David Warner played in Australia, it was just happy days, taking to England with the balls hooping around. So that the Dockers are now the new David Warner.
You love David Warner, don't you?
No, I don't. But having said that, I was going for a walk. I thought when I was at Lord's watching him bat, it was gloomy, it was colder, it was tough conditions. So it is a different, but that's cricket to
But
footy.
you like his sort of, his demeanour and his tone.
No,
you love all that.
No, it's like your mate Donald Duck. I don't like it. I think just treat people with respect.
Well done, Scanner. You're a good man. Adelaide 110 defeated Carlton 50 at Adelaide Oval. Adelaide continue their dominance at home in this one. Adelaide won every quarter.
Jordan Dawson, enormous.
So what do we say? Okay, well, the Blues can't travel. Carlton can't travel.
Well,
they travel.
Well, how many times did they travel this year?
It's travel. I'm being facetious.
No, I know what you're saying.
Like the Blues can't travel.
They can't win in Adelaide.
Coach. Yeah, well.
They struggle in Adelaide, to be fair. And I didn't think this was a huge surprise, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you what, despite the fact that Mackay and Curnow are back,
yes,
a bloke called Jack Silvani, missing, he's quite significant. You wouldn't have thought that. But in defence, he's been arguably the most important part of their back six.
He was out with that hand? Is that what he's out with?
Yeah, he's missing. Yeah, he's missing with injury. Right. So, yeah, look, even in the clearances, like, I only saw part of this game as well, but they were completely outplayed. Okay. You lose by 60. It was as you say, you would say a bloodbath.
Okay, very good. Skeeter, just checking the tips for you, mate. So I had 5.
That's good.
Was it?
Well, I don't know, 5 out of 9.
Yeah, not ideal. Like I missed a couple.
What did you miss? I know the ones I missed, which I'm dirty about.
Who did you miss while I pull it up?
I would have, in hindsight, Sydney.
GWS.
Yeah, the Sydney one.
Freo. I picked Freo.
Well, we all, yeah. I don't think. Yeah, the Freo one. I think we all cop that and go, well, that was just a one-off. But
I missed Collingwood.
Yeah, Geelong was Geelong. I thought was a chance, but didn't have the courage of my convictions.
I also picked North Melbourne as my upset.
Well, that wasn't far off.
Finn Maley or Marley would have like Bob Marley going back on the bongos about bloody.
Mate, you've had North Melbourne as your upset about 4 times this year.
Well, I was almost bloody right.
You're almost right.
But
you've still got more money owed.
Anyway, Paul D, the J Park Rangers, you are the winner this week, mate. You had 8 from 9.
Oh, how do they get these numbers?
A 1-point margin on a Thursday night footy as well. So thank you very much. So you must have gone 4 or 2. Well, I only thought it was going to be a close one. So the slab of shelters will be out to you. Adelaide, a good, Carlton, a bad. That enough?
Yeah.
I was at ranking at 29.
Who's that?
I was at ranking 29 and 2 goals.
He's a star. But Jordan Dawson, the man.
Geelong 90 defeat Collingwood 87 MCG. Match it around this one.
Game of the round, which I didn't see much of, nor did you, because we were working. Unfortunately, a bit of argument, a bit of discussion. The fact this wasn't on free to wear in Melbourne, which is the frustrate. I know you get upset with this.
I'm not upset at all. I'm
just saying there's so many people.
Let's talk about it.
Anyway, the game itself.
No, let's talk about it. Keep going with that.
No, I don't think it's worth. We've discussed it, and it's an element that doesn't really come into play because.
Tony Jones is upset because the Collingwood-Geelong game wasn't on free-to-air TV. Well, it's the same argument. It's like,
it is an argument.
Grow up, seriously.
Well, it's a discussion. You can still have a discussion without...
It's $20 a month. Just go and pay your money and then you can watch the footy.
There's people
I think that's gone. I think that ship sailed.
That's okay.
Fine. But you think we can go back to free-to-air only?
So Geelong, after
everything's free again, guys. No one's got any money, but it's free.
That's okay. Just remember the pensioners out there, Scully.
Yeah, perfect.
So Geelong got the jump. It was a real... keeping an eye on this game... Some real quality through it, and it couldn't have had a better ending, really, with regards to the bloke breaking the consecutive games record, Jack Crisp.
Yes.
Ball in a scoring position. Just prior to that, of course, controversial free kick.
So what do you think on this one, on the Bobby Hill
I reckon it did slide. Now, whether it slid late enough to be called a trip, I wouldn't have had any issues if he's done for holding the ball. There
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There wouldn't have been a person in the world that would have said, I can't believe that wasn't called a trip, would they? Because this is the rundown tackle stuff, and this is the Paul Curtis, and I know that, you know, he didn't pin his arms, but, you know, this is what we love to see. Like, I don't even know where Bobby Hill came from. Old mate was just waltzing through the middle of the MCG with not long left, by the way, and Bobby Hill, like, to be able to put that chase on that late in the game, I would like, and I think most of the AFL probably would like to see that rewarded.
Exactly. No, I totally agree on that front. The umpires obviously aren't obliged to go on fields. They're obliged to go on what the law says.
Yes.
But I do agree with you. I'd rather see that paid holding the ball than a trip.
Yeah, because I think they'll review that and say it was probably the correct decision. Have they come out and said that? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But for a footy fan, we would have liked, to be paid. But we sort of get what we want in the end, and Collingwood have a shot after the siren. Probably just I watched his run up. Like, he's a left footer. I reckon he usually gets a bit more of an arc, and the umpire was
because it's after the siren. Remember that?
The rule is, and I said I was good at the rule skate, so let's hope I'm right. But the rule is you can actually step off your line as long as you kick from over the mark. So you can start your run up from. He could come and start a couple of metres wide. That's
so the Buddy Franklin style.
Yeah, so Buddy used to, start on the mark and then kick. He'd be kicking not over the mark. But after the siren, you can take a couple of steps to your left or to your right and get your arc as long as you kick over the mark.
But the problem with that is, in all seriousness, if in the umpire's view that you have breached that element of kicking over the mark, that kick's null and void, isn't it?
Well, I think it's sort of interesting because if you watch it, the umpire comes right up in his ear, it's so loud, and he yells at him, "You must kick over the mark." He watches
and clearly that got into his...
And then Chris I'm going to run straight. I'm going to run straight at it. He says something like, "I'm going to run in a straight line." So I just wonder, I just reckon he's got way more of an arc to his kick. I just wonder if there's a tiny bit of confusion around what it is, because the rule definitely is you can
probably
step
was
off
his natural...
It's also after the siren.
He's knackered.
Guaranteed that, he would have had a lot of people at that game. Imagine what's going through his head. It would have been a bloody big moment of AFL ever. That would have been Chris after the siren in his game that breaks a record. That would have gone down for
one of the great stories.
Yeah.
I mean, good to see Danger go and immediately show his class, shake his hand. Was it Ollie Dempsey that took mark of the year in this one, or close to it?
Has there ever been? Yeah, that was big. On Steel Sidebottom, who's having a big year as well. Has there ever been a player much better than Danger? I don't reckon there's many that have
quality of person.
No.
What are you talking about?
Put team on back and drag across the line.
Well, I said Zach Merritt for Essendon, but
Danger's longer, mate.
Danger's been a...
He has his critics sometimes. Some people critique him. His kick can be errant at times. He's got a couple
said shots at goal probably at times.
Right, but mate, he is just an absolute superstar. He just said, "We're not getting this done. I'm get on my back, boys." 29 touches, 2 goals, 13 disposals, and 10 of those contested in the last quarter, Skeeter.
Yeah.
That is absolutely off its head. Bailey Smith, best recruit of the year, guaranteed. 34 disposals. Bulldogs didn't want him, mate. I was speaking to people at the Bulldogs that wanted him out of there. It wasn't that they couldn't fit him in. They wanted him gone. So that game, I think, is in round 11. That's proper spite. They wanted him out the door. Wasn't buying in enough.
Don't tell me it's on a crappy Saturday afternoon schedule. Hopefully it's on a Friday or a big sort of... Surely that the AFL is...
I mean, they're two big enough clubs, aren't they? I think it's round 11. Thursday night footy.
Perfect.
In Geelong.
Oh,
that'll be actually, mate.
Would have been better at Marvel.
Yeah, I know, but it'll still be good with the crowd at Geelong. Hopefully, get stuck into it. So Pendlebury and Sidebottom having amazing years. So, well done to Geelong. Big win. That's a huge win for them. Sydney 87 defeated GWS 73. Got to be honest. Watched most of this one. GWS were never really in it. Sydney had them at Arms Bay. The whole time. They kicked the first 5 goals of the match, and GWS just never recovered from that.
Bit spiteful, wasn't it? Lewis and Melican?
Yep, spiteful.
Bedford.
Melican, Hamling v Buckley. There was some ups and downs. So Chad Warner was very good early, sort of faded late in this one. But really, Sydney's centre clearance dominance and midfield dominance early just cooked them. Like, they didn't put any time into Warner or Heaney. They backed the boys in and they got their pants pulled down, and then they just had to fight the whole way. And GWS are now lost 3 in a row, have they?
Yeah, beaten by the Bulldogs badly.
Lost 3 in a row and sit on the cusp of dropping out of the 8. They're in just a tiny bit of trouble at the moment.
Yeah, and Sydney, it's a good win by them. They've got a pretty good record against the Giants. Funny how sides just find a way to do the job on their old rivals, and that would have given them a bit of pleasure because they were pretty poor after half-time against the Suns on the Gold Coast. I think the first 5 almost of this one.
Yep.
So they had, you're right, once they established that lead, I think it was 6 points at halftime. So the Giants had a pretty good second quarter, got themselves back into the contest. But end of the day, this is Dean Cox probably coaching the best victory of his short tenure.
Yep, absolutely.
Alongside the win, I was about to say against Fremantle, but maybe that your analysis of the Dockers.
You're just going to beat them though, don't you?
Exactly.
Yep. So very good.
And James Jordan, a couple of goals, always does a good stopping role as well.
Shout out to my man Joel Hamling.
Oh, he kicked a goal yet?
4th club, 97th match. Had a shot in the first, hit the post.
Yeah, I heard that.
Had a shot in the second, hit the other post. Mate,
He's getting closer.
3rd shot of the game, last quarter, in his 97th match, kicked his first ever goal.
Did kick the goal?
Yeah, boys got around him. Yeah,
Wow.
It was unreal. It was very,
And he's
very
been
good.
playing forward a bit at Sydney since he's right there.
But he hit the post twice, and the commentators had the mozzer on him. And took a good mark against Jack Buckley, one of the best in the business. Hawthorn 109 defeat Richmond 44 at the MCG. Richmond stunk it right up. You got to be honest. They barely kicked a goal in the first half from memory. 2 goals in the first half only. And Hawthorn, bit of foot on the throat stuff. They looked better, but I just wouldn't read into it too much. Josh Battle was very good in the back line, 33 disposals and 13 marks. Hawthorn celebrated their their centenary match.
Alistair Clarkson was back, Shane Crawford, Dermy. Yeah, so they invited every player who's represented their club, and obviously still with us, male and female. So that was really good initiative. So it would have been a good, fun day for those catching up with some old buddies.
Would have been some beers in the stands, I can tell you that. Jack Gunston kicked his 500th goal in AFL footy. He's still playing very, very good footy. He kicked 3 goals. He's really important to how they play. I'm liking Marby Chol every time I see him. Like,
He's been one of those players.
He's getting better and better.
Yeah. Again, these last 2 wins against the Eagles and Richmond, pretty soft kills for Hawthorn, but they've done what they had to do. They now need to... I don't know where we are with Hawthorn. Wait until we see them against a quality opposition, which we saw against Geelong, and they're not far off it, but I think Sam Mitchell is hoping that their second half of the year will be, if they can do what they did last year and provide that momentum, then they'll start really chucking towards September.
Noah Bolter booed every time he got the footy.
Yep.
Happy with that? Or not happy with that?
No, I've got no issue with it.
Okay, perfect.
I mean,
That's great.
That's the way it rolls, isn't it? I mean, you do the crime,
What is it?
you do the time.
Thank you. I was just letting you finish it.
But no, what does he expect?
I don't know.
When do you reckon Andrew Gaff, he walks down the street, he still gets booed by Fremantle supporters.
That's very good, Scanner. Brisbane 66 defeat Gold Coast 49 in the wet at the Gabba Sunday night. I still like Sunday night footy. I watched most of this.
I watched this as well.
Yeah, it's just... I'm getting even more into it. Like, it's just good to have to finish off the weekend.
Josh Dunkley, outstanding. They just out and muscled in those conditions. There was a bit of rain around as well. Out and muscled the Suns, who still... It's a bit like the early days with the Eagles and the Dockers. The big brother thing came into play last night. So obvious with their ability around the ball in those conditions to withstand the pressure, absorb, and then obviously, these matches mean a fair bit to Brisbane still, you can tell.
The Ashcroft brothers, both father-sons, combined for almost 65 disposals and 9 clearances between them. So
I heard one of the commentators on Fox talking about how lucky Brisbane have been. Might have been Hutto actually, but how's it different to Collingwood with the Dacos boys or with what Geelong has had over the past 20 years?
The slight difference, which I don't think Collingwood Carlton has the Peter Dacos medal. The medal in this one's called the Marcus Ashcroft medal,
right?
And Will won it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very funny. Josh Dunkley v Matt Rowell all night. Dunkley absolutely smoked him. 25 disposals to 16. I thought it might have been a Matt Rowell sort of night, but perhaps thinking about it, he's a bit more suited to the drier stuff and he gets his run going a bit. I don't know, but he was sort of pretty much nowhere. Charlie Cameron is back in business. He hadn't kicked a goal for 3 games.
Yeah, and
Kicked 3.
I've seen him a bit like Shea Bolton this year. These snaps around his body have been he's just been a bit off with his finishing. And yeah, good to see him back. Brisbane's on top of the table. Life's good. They're not playing super footy, but they certainly, they've been looking in the rearview mirror to what they did last year and they think we're just flying compared to 24 at the moment.
All right, Skeeter, that's enough of you and I. Let's get to some questions and comments. Will Schofield, Mark Reading, Shelter Brewing Co. Beer, fresh from the Busselton foreshore. Okay, Skeeter, this was you and Hammer on Thursday's show, but deserves a mention again, apparently, from Justin on YouTube. Don't talk positively about Freo, please. Every time people do, we get comfortable and crumble.
Okay.
What did you do to them?
Who's that?
That's from Justin.
Justin, the Dockers are abominable. They're horrible, terrible. Anything else you want me to say to try and get them up for you this week? Yeah. Well, we always said was that they played good footy against Adelaide, and we expect them to hopefully get the job done, which they failed miserably.
This is Thursday as well, but I think we'll leave that one. Cornsey was going hard at, I don't know, not hard enough at Horn Francis or something. Who cares? Next will be the hanger removed from our once great game. This is off the back of some of our stuff, but we've seen action over outcome this week, so I'm actually good. Danielle on YouTube, this is just a one-liner. Skeet, you're actually iconic. That's all it says. Like, seriously. She's probably 87 years old.
No, Danielle's, that's more sort of like a 40-year-old age back, I reckon.
Yeah.
I've got no idea.
Iconic. Mark Readings. We should put a T-shirt on you. Iconic. Mark Readings, iconic.
Thank you, Danielle.
G'day, Skeeter, Hammer and Scully. G'day, Skeeter, Hammer and Scully, whoever decides to show up for the podcast.
Well, hang on. I'm here. Bugger Lug's either in Melbourne or just strutting around doing his stuff.
I was at the Carlton draft, actually, and I know that's definitely competing. And I would, put myself into a bit of a mix here, but drink shelter. Thank you very much. And I was over there. We basically it's about country footy, right? Community footy, country footy, and just to give you a little bit of a breakdown, Ski, because I think you would have enjoyed it. I rocked up, right, and it was at a pub. There was a fair few people there, actually, more than I thought, but they'd invited representatives from each club. So there was 5 clubs, 5 players. So me, Pavlich. There was only one West Australian club. So there was 2 West Australians, me and Pav. There was Hawkins, Deledio, and Travis Cloak. So if you think about those players, Hawkins and Pavlich probably the best 2 by name and what they've done in the game, premierships and all Australians and captains. Deledio, very, very good player across a number of teams, a couple of teams, high draft pick, elite. Travis Cloak, premiership player, very good. I had myself very comfortably fifth best there, worst, right? So they did the draft, right? And I think Hawk went number 1, maybe Clokey 2, Pav 3. Anyway, throughout this process, it was a 10-minute ticker, so it took an hour to go. So I'm like looking around going, this is going to be a very boring night if I, don't actually give something. So I've found the most rowdy group of guys. They'd basically bought their whole side, right? Shout out Hill End, the Hill End Grove Rovers, right? And they were steaming, before the draft started. And I thought, these are my people. So I had a nice little wristband. I started giving them some drinks. And so by the end of the hour, when it was up to me, I was wearing, before I'd even been drafted, I was wearing their jumper. The pick number 4 came in, Brett Deledio, and our team's like going nuts and carrying on. And I had the whole team up on stage with me, like jumping around. It was very bloody good skate. So I'm looking forward to going there. July 11th, I believe I'm playing for Hill End. I'm coming back, Skate. I'm making a comeback.
Yeah, so I've just, from all that, I've ascertained, so that little project you've got, it's all about country, community and cash. So well done.
Yes, correct. And having fun with your mates. So, I'll make sure there's some footage of me playing skate because I know that really gets you up and about me playing football. You almost lost a lung laughing when I told you I was making a comeback this year. Well, I am.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, no, it's funny watching you, and if you do a hamstring or a calf or something, just as long as that's captured as well.
G'day, Skater, Hammer and Sky, whoever decides to show up for the pod. Just wanted you to hearken back to 2023 in July when Sky predicted Elijah would kick 3 in a game. Did I do that? less than 2 years later, Scully would be proven right. He also posted the link to Scully saying it. So he's got it here.
So if you're going to just cherry pick predictions from Scully, you're going to find a lot of stuff that's off the mark.
Yeah.
And you're going to find the odd little nugget like that. So,
I don't see anything from Skeeter here. Nothing. Jared hasn't said anything. Thanks, Skeeter.
I did predict last year the Premier.
Actually, he did pretty well last year.
Yeah,
off the mark or something. Well, have you missed it this year?
Oh, I think I had Sydney in the mix somewhere. I think the Giants in the mix. But yeah, I actually made it up on the day. But no, I think we're both guilty of being pretty crap when it comes to predictions.
All right, last one. Just want to get your thoughts on the coverage Freo got this weekend. I think the way that Lyon, Lewis and Brown openly stated that JL should be moved was a bloody disgrace. Granted, they played bloody pathetic, but the hype around Freo is the potential, not the finished product. There's probably 6 players in this team that could walk into any other side. That's it. Why is Voss not criticised like JL? Blues have lost more whilst having 2 Coleman medalists and a dual Brownlow medalist actively playing. Not saying JL's doing well, obviously big issues in the side, especially intensity across the board, but would like a fairer shout. That is from Sam via email, Skeeter.
Yeah, and Sam's probably on the money with a lot of what is said there. I think you just also have to bear in mind, if you live in Melbourne, you're going to see like the Longmuir stuff will be around, but not prominent. If Carlton's really struggling, that the heat gets turned up here. And conversely, in WA, the Voss attention is going to be minimal compared to what we're seeing with the Dockers. And both deserve, I mean, obviously Voss has got his team into a prelim final a couple of years ago, made finals last year, albeit knocked out pretty quickly. The Dockers haven't been able to show us any consistency back end of last year, through this year already. So
they also don't get Friday night games. So that panel that discussed them, they don't get Freo. And if that's the first time they saw them this year properly, right?
They wouldn't be surprised because you can tell a lot of the Eastern States commentators and experts don't get a look at Fremantle regularly,
especially in person. So if that's the first time they've seen them, I'm not defending anyone, but if that's the first time you've seen a side, imagine what you'd be thinking. It'd be like absolutely diabolical.
Turn this joint upside down and start from scratch.
Yeah, correct. So that's what you'd be thinking. So that's
cool heads required, I think, for Fremantle. But yeah, you're entitled to feel pretty distressed over what you saw on Friday.
All right, let's finish up, Skeeter. For what it's worth, I won my first game as head coach.
Well done, congratulations, beat Wesley. I'm told. Yep.
You're a Wesley boy.
No, I'm not. I'm a Trinity boy.
Oh, sorry, that's right. Looking forward to playing them. Can I just give you one quick story to finish off?
Sure.
I told the boys if they hit a footy out of my hand, I'd do 100 push-ups for them. And one of the little whippersnappers knocked one out the other night. So for their first game, I thought it would be funny to record me doing the 100 push-ups. Let alone, I haven't done a push-up for 3 or 4 years probably. I promise I have not done one. I worked the Freo game, did a couple of hours work on the game plan and stuff to present to the boys, and I thought I'd do my push-ups. It was about 12:30 at night. Did my 100 push-ups, filmed it on this app that counted. It was like an AI thing that watched you do it, right? And I got my 100 out, right? And I thought, this is going to be good. I was going to fast, but it took me 20 minutes. It took me a long time. It took me a long time. But I was going to speed it up, and it was going to be funny. I was getting the boys up and about, gone to save the video, app shut down, whole thing deleted. So wholly deleted. Mate, I cannot move my arms past there. My triceps, God, my chest is cooked, and it's the last time I'm doing push-ups. So I did them. It's not on record, but I bloody did it.
I do 50 sit-ups every morning after I go for a walk. And you ask why? Because my wife thinks I'm fat. So I just have to keep doing sit-ups until she says, you're not fat, you're fit, you're fantastic, you're fabulous, and you're 50.
See you Thursday.